Welcome back, dear viewers. On this channel, we explore the mysteries of human consciousness, death, and the realms beyond, blending philosophy, psychology, and mystical insight. Today, we continue our journey through the Tibetan Book of the Dead, focusing on the second day after death, the Chonyi Bardo, the intermediate state of phenomena. You may ask, how does the Tibetan Book of the Dead explain that consciousness does not vanish after death? Unlike many spiritual texts that merely ask you to believe, the Bardo Thödol presents a systematic three-step approach. First, logical reasoning. Second, empirical evidence from the phenomena of consciousness. And third, verification through disciplined practice. First, the logical argument. The Bardo Thödol begins with a profound assertion. Consciousness is not material. It defines awareness, or shiz in Tibetan, as follows. Awareness, or shiz, neither arises nor ceases. While it interacts with matter, it is not matter itself. This is a radical claim. Consciousness is not merely a byproduct of the brain. It is a relational phenomenon arising on the canvas of emptiness. Buddhist logic explains that all forms and phenomena exist through interdependent causes and conditions. Yet the awareness that perceives these phenomena, the very act of recognition, is not itself subject to the impermanence of its objects. In other words, when the body perishes, consciousness does not end, it continues, transforming rather than ceasing. Second, phenomenological evidence. The Tibetan Book of the Dead provides a detailed map of consciousness for the deceased. It depicts the mind's experiences step by step as it navigates the post-mortem. Intermediate states, the Bardo. The text explains, even when the body cools, the mind's wind does not cease. Consciousness traverses the dreamlike Bardo, witnessing its own karmic projections. These depictions are not mythic allegories, but phenomenological observations validated through practice. Tibetan meditators, through dream yoga and Shikai Bardo yoga, experience firsthand that consciousness can persist independently of physical senses. This transforms the text from a book of faith into a guide for experiential verification. Third, experiential verification through practice. Here lies one of the most fascinating aspects for Western audiences. The link between lucid dreaming and the post-mortem Bardo. In Tibetan thought, life, dreams, and the intermediate state are all projections of the mind. Lucid dreaming, the awareness that one is dreaming, allows a practitioner to recognize and navigate these mental projections consciously. By practicing lucid dreams, one learns not to fear threatening scenarios in dreams. Similarly, in the Bardo, terrifying visions arise from one's own mind. The key is to recognize them as projections. If one can maintain awareness in this dreamlike state, liberation becomes possible. Falling asleep, in this sense, is a microcosm of dying. Maintaining awareness during sleep is practice for the ultimate transition. The text emphasizes, do not simply believe. See for yourself that the mind continues even at the moment of death. By observing consciousness directly, one realizes that awareness persists as a subtle wind in the heart, eventually transforming into clear light consciousness. This is the moment when the practitioner perceives the unity of self and cosmos. The Bardo Thödol explains, awareness is neither wet by water nor burnt by fire. It is not buried in earth nor scattered by wind. It is fundamentally light, and the moment you recognize it, liberation is achieved. The phenomenology of the second-day colors of the divine. On the second day after death, the soul experiences a reality entirely constructed by the mind. The deceased encounters the five lights: blue, golden, red, white, and green. Each represents an aspect of wisdom, compassion, passion, purity, and balance. Yet the soul often fears these lights, for they reveal unfiltered truths about one's desires, attachments, and past actions. The blue light embodies the wisdom of Dharmakaya. Gold reflects compassionate action. Red illuminates passion and love. White represents pure consciousness. Green signifies the power of equilibrium and activity. Here we see a profound philosophical lesson. Human beings instinctively avoid truth when it exposes their illusions. The lights are not external deities, but reflections of the mind's inner realities. Encountering them is both a psychological and spiritual challenge, a confrontation with the self, stripped of comforting illusions. Through this lens, the Tibetan Book of the Dead guides us. Death is not an end, but a mirror of consciousness. The post-mortem journey becomes an invitation to recognize the mind's projections, to confront them with awareness, and ultimately to awaken to the timeless flow of awareness that underlies all existence. The Bardo Thödol is more than a religious scripture. It is a philosophical and psychological manual, demonstrating that consciousness persists through one, logical reasoning showing the immaterial nature of awareness. 2, phenomenological observation depicting the post-mortem experience as a map of consciousness. 3, experiential verification through lucid dreaming and meditative practice. It is both an invitation and a challenge to see, to experience, and to understand that consciousness is not confined to the body, and that the ultimate truths of life and death are accessible through direct insight. If this exploration of consciousness, death, and the mind has sparked curiosity, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. Together, we will continue walking the path toward understanding the luminous nature of awareness and the profound mysteries that lie beyond the threshold of life. On this channel, we explore the profound mysteries of human consciousness, death, and the realms that lie beyond, blending philosophy, psychology, and mystical insight. Today, we delve deeper into the Tibetan Book of the Dead, focusing on the Chonyi Bardo, the intermediate state of phenomena, which unfolds on the second day after death. Earlier, we discussed how the Bardo Thödol asserts that consciousness does not vanish with the physical body. It does so through a sophisticated three-step approach. First, logical, reasoning; second, phenomenological evidence; and third, validation, through disciplined practice. Let us now continue from that foundation and explore how this philosophy is intimately tied to practical experience and consciousness training. Logical reasoning revisited. As we have seen, consciousness, or she's, is defined as awareness neither arises nor ceases. While it interacts with matter, it is not matter itself. In other words, consciousness is fundamentally relational, existing in dependence on causes and conditions, yet not identical to the objects it perceives. The death of the body does not annihilate awareness. It merely removes the sensory apparatus that perceives the physical world. Consciousness continues, transforming its focus, but never truly ceasing. This philosophical reasoning sets the stage for the phenomenological and experiential aspects that follow, connecting logically to the practices that Tibetan meditators have used for centuries. From logic to experience consciousness in practice. Here, the Tibetan Book of the Dead invites us to shift from intellectual understanding to lived experience. Tibetan practitioners employ dream yoga and Shikai Bardo yoga to directly observe consciousness, independent of the body. Through these practices, one discovers that the mind's activity persists, even when sensory input ceases. This leads us to a remarkable principle. Lucid dreaming is a microcosm of death itself. In a lucid dream, you are aware that you are dreaming, and you can navigate the dream consciously. Similarly, in the Bardo state, the deceased encounters visions both peaceful and terrifying that are projections of their own mind. The key is awareness. By recognizing that these apparitions are mental projections, fear is dissolved and liberation becomes possible. The text explains this with clarity. Do not merely believe. Observe directly that the mind continues even at the moment of death. Lucid dreaming, then, is not simply a tool for mental exploration during life. It is preparation for the ultimate transition, allowing one to remain conscious as the body dissolves and the intermediate state begins. The Bardo is, in essence, a dream of consciousness, a realm where the mind projects karmic patterns as vivid experiences. Those who train in lucid awareness are able to witness these projections without attachment, recognizing them for what they are, phenomena arising from the mind itself, the continuity of consciousness and the mind's wind. The Bardo Thödol describes consciousness as a subtle wind remaining in the heart, even as the body ceases its functions. This mind's wind eventually transforms into clear light consciousness, a state of pure awareness where the practitioner experiences unity with the universe. It is here that the teachings bridge philosophy, psychology, and mystical insight. Consciousness is not merely a product of the brain, but a fundamental aspect of existence itself, flowing through the cosmos. The text offers a vivid description of this truth. Awareness is neither wet by water nor burnt by fire. It is not buried in earth nor scattered by wind. It is fundamentally luminous, and the moment you recognize it, liberation is achieved. This is no abstract metaphor. It is a precise statement about the nature of consciousness as experienced through disciplined practice, validated in the phenomenology of both dream and death. Tibetan practitioners understand that even when the body dies, awareness continues, encountering manifestations of one's own mind, yet remaining untouched by fear or attachment if recognized clearly. Lucid awareness as a bridge between life and death. By training in lucid dreaming, one learns to discern illusion from reality, a skill directly applicable to navigating the Bardo. Life itself, with its constant flux and impermanence, can be approached as a series of dreamlike projections. Recognizing this allows one to confront mortality without fear, and to navigate the inner landscape of mind with clarity. The Bardo Thödol emphasizes experiential validation over mere belief. Even though your breath has ceased, does the thought, "I still exist," not arise? That is awareness. That is enlightenment. That is your true nature. This profound insight demonstrates that consciousness is not annihilated by death, but continues as subtle awareness, capable of interacting with the projections of the mind. Through disciplined practice, one can perceive these states directly, experiencing the continuity of consciousness as it shifts from the physical to the intermediate realm. In integrating logical reasoning, phenomenological evidence, and meditative practice, the Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches a practical, experiential philosophy. Consciousness endures beyond the cessation of the body. The second day after death, the Chonyi Bardo, is a crucial stage where the soul encounters the mind-made reality, a reflection of karmic patterns, vivid yet ultimately unreal. By training awareness through lucid dreaming, we can approach this experience with clarity, recognizing the mind's projections without attachment or fear. In essence, the text is a guide to understanding the imperishable nature of consciousness, a bridge between life and death, and a manual for inner transformation. If you found this exploration of consciousness and the intermediate state illuminating, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. Together we will continue our journey into the luminous and boundless nature of awareness, exploring the mysteries that lie beyond the threshold of life. Welcome back, dear viewers. On this channel, we continue our exploration of consciousness, death, and the subtle realms that unfold beyond our physical existence. Today, we journey further into the profound teachings of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, focusing on the Chonyi Bardo, the intermediate state of phenomena, the second stage of post-death experience. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and turn on notifications as we explore the luminous nature of awareness together. Previously, we discussed how the Bardo Thödol integrates philosophical reasoning, phenomenological observation, and disciplined practice to demonstrate that consciousness does not vanish at death. Logic informs us that awareness, or she's, is not a mere byproduct of the brain, nor does it arise or cease in the same way that physical phenomena do. Even as the body dissolves, the mind's activity persists, perceiving, reflecting, and interacting with the subtle projections of past actions and karmic patterns. We then examined how this continuity is verified through experiential practice, particularly lucid dreaming, dream yoga, and death meditation, Chikai Bardo yoga. By cultivating the ability to recognize dream states as projections of the mind, Tibetan practitioners train themselves to navigate the Bardo, consciously avoiding fear, attachment, or confusion. In other words, life itself becomes a rehearsal for the ultimate transition, and the skills honed in dreams are directly transferable to the experience of post-death consciousness. Now, let us take the next step. The profound insights embedded in the second day of the Bardo, as described in paragraph 5. On this day, the deceased enters a stage where the soul actively experiences the reality generated by the mind itself, a landscape shaped by karmic impressions and emotional residues. The Chonyi Bardo is thus not merely a passive state. It is a vivid encounter with one's own consciousness, a dreamlike projection in which the mind both creates and witnesses its own illusions. The Bardo Thödol conveys a crucial philosophical principle here, using the Sanskrit maxim Sita Shakti Pratibimba, Maya Artham Anasraya. In essence, all phenomena are projections of mind, appearing real yet devoid of inherent existence. In the text,